It is the end of the year. You open your banking app, half expecting to feel proud. You worked all 12 months. You barely missed a day. You showed up when you were tired and showed up when you did not want to. So your eyes go straight to the balance, looking for the reward. And the number is almost the same as last year. Your body feels it before your mind catches up. That small drop in the stomach, that quiet sinking. Then your mind rushes in to smooth it over. Things were expensive. Next year will be better. You had a lot going on. But here is the truth underneath that feeling. Your money was working all year. It just was not working for you. There is a leak somewhere in your system, and once you can see it, it can never drain you quietly again. The leak does not shout. It works in silence, on its own, exactly the way it was built to. Almost every money system around you comes with a default setting, and that default quietly sends a small piece of your money to someone else. The easy path, the one you never have to think about, is always the path that pays them. And a small leak is only small for a short while. Leave it alone for 10 years, and it is no longer a few naira here and there. It is a car. It is a deposit on a home. It is a decade of freedom you handed over without ever deciding to. So here is what you are getting. 10 moves most people overlook. What each one is really redirecting away from you. And the exact action to flip it back. Arranged so the biggest payer of all comes last. Section 1. Start with the leaks you can plug today, because the fastest wins prove the point. The first one is hiding in plain sight. Open your bank statements and read every line that repeats each month. The small subscription you forgot you signed up for, the app you stopped using months ago, the card fee, and the account fee that show up so quietly you stop noticing them. Cancel what you do not use. For the rest, call and ask for a better rate, because the answer is yes, far more often than people expect. This is the kind of win that pays you back every single month, for as long as you live. You fix it once, and it keeps giving. The second leak is your idle cash. Look at the money just sitting in a normal account, earning you nothing. That money is not resting. It is working, but every bit of interest it earns is going to the bank instead of to you. Move it into a high-yield savings account or a money market option where your money is allowed to grow while it waits. You are not taking on big risk here. You are simply collecting the interest that was always yours to collect. The third move is the one that quietly changes everything. Set up an automatic transfer on the day you get paid, sending a fixed amount straight into investing before your hands can ever touch it. Not after the bills. Not after you see what is left. First. The reason this matters is simple. When the money is gone before you can spend it, you do not need willpower anymore. You do not have to feel strong on a hard day. The system carries you. And the moment that money lands and starts to grow, compounding begins, where your money earns. And then those earnings begin to earn too. Notice what these three have in common. None of them ask you to earn more. None of them ask you to suffer or cut every small joy from your life. You set each one up a single time, and it keeps working in the background long after you have forgotten you touched it. That is the whole idea of a plugged leak. The effort happens once, the reward repeats, and now that you have felt how good a quick win feels, you are ready for the leaks that take a little more nerve to face. Section 2. Now look at the free money most people walk straight past without ever seeing it. The first piece sits inside your job. If your employer adds money to your pension or retirement savings when you add your own, that extra is not a bonus or a kind gesture. It is part of your pay, sitting there, waiting for you to claim it. When your company puts in money to match what you put in, that is an instant return on cash you were already setting aside. Picture a friend who hands you 50 naira every time you save 100. You would never turn that down. Yet many people leave this money on the table year after year, simply because no one told them to reach out and take it. Find out the exact amount your employer will match, and put in enough to capture every last bit of it. The second piece is your high-interest debt. Look for the loan or the card charging you the steepest rate, the one quietly eating you alive every month. When you clear a debt that charges you 20%, you have done something powerful. You have earned a guaranteed 20% return, because that is money that will now stay in your pocket instead of leaving it. There is no investment on earth that can promise you a sure return like that. And the beauty is that once the debt is gone, it stays gone. The relief does not last 1 month. It pays you for years. The third piece is hidden inside the funds you may already own. 2 funds can look almost the same on the surface and hold nearly the same things, yet one quietly charges you far more in fees than the other. Over a year, that gap feels tiny. Over 30 years, that small fee can swallow a frightening share of everything you built. Switch from the high-fee fund to a low-cost index fund, which simply follows the whole market at a fraction of the cost. You make this choice one time, and it quietly saves you a fortune for the rest of your life. See the pattern again. None of this asked you to earn more or risk more. It only asked you to stop walking past money that was already yours. The match was yours. The freedom from that debt was yours, and those fees were always yours to keep. Section 3. Now move to the choices that quietly pay you back every single year you are alive. The first one is the tax break you are allowed to use but rarely do. Your government writes rules that lower what you owe when you save and invest in certain ways. These are not tricks and they are not loopholes for the rich. They are legal doors, left open on purpose, that almost anyone can walk through. Yet most people walk past them and hand over more than they ever needed to. Learn which tax-advantaged accounts and deductions you can claim, and claim them. This is not a one-time saving. It is a discount you get to take again next year, and the year after, for as long as you keep earning. The second move is your credit profile, and most people only think about it after it is already hurting them. A strong credit history is not about looking good to a bank. It is about the price you pay for money. When your profile is strong, every loan you ever take, the home, the car, the business, comes at a lower rate. When it is weak, you pay more for the exact same thing, just because of how you look on paper. Pay on time, keep your debts low, and build that profile on purpose. The reward is money saved on every loan for the rest of your life. The third move comes down to a single question you face again and again. Picture 2 friends with the same pay. David sees his money and buys the upgraded car. The one that looks like success but quietly bills him every month for fuel, repairs, and the value it loses the moment he drives it home. Marcus takes the same money and buys something that pays him instead. A small share of a business, a fund, an asset that sends money back to him while he sleeps. One man bought a thing that takes, the other bought a thing that gives. 10 years on, they are not the same, and the gap was never about how much they earned. It was about what each one chose to buy. See it once more. None of this asked you to work harder. The tax break was offered to you. The lower rates were waiting for you. And every naira, in the end, is either being spent on something that takes or placed into something that gives. Section 4. Now we reach the last move, and it is the biggest of them all. Every move before this one has been about plugging a leak, claiming what was yours, or choosing the thing that gives over the thing that takes. All of them matter, but every one of them shares a quiet limit. When you cut a cost, there is a floor you cannot go below. You can cancel the subscription, beat the fees, and clear the debt. But once you reach zero waste, the saving stops. You cannot spend less than nothing. There is a bottom, and sooner or later you hit it. Your earning power has no such floor. This is why the final move sits at the very top of the ladder. Invest in a high-return skill or qualification that raises what you are worth. The thing that lets you do work fewer people can do, and command a higher price for doing it. A certificate that opens a better-paid door. A skill that turns one income into 2. A craft that takes you from being easy to replace to being hard to lose. This is the one place you can put money and time where the ceiling simply keeps lifting, and here is why it pays the most for the longest. When you raise your income, you do not raise it for 1 month or 1 year. You raise the base you earn from for the rest of your working life. Every future raise is now built on a taller starting point. Every other move in this list, the saving, the investing, the matching, the compounding, all of it now runs on a bigger number because you feed it more from the top. The skill does not just add, it multiplies everything below it. Think of the two friends again. One spends years quietly trimming costs, careful with every naira, and that care is real and good. The other does the same trimming, but also pours a season into learning a skill that doubles what he earns. 10 years on, the careful saver did well. The one who raised his ceiling is playing a different game entirely. So plug the small leaks first, because the quick wins prove the point. Then claim the free money, take the yearly discounts, and buy the things that pay you. But save your deepest investment for the one asset that lifts every other, which is you. Section 5. Now pull back and walk the full ladder, starting where the payout is smallest and climbing to where it is largest. At the very bottom, you cut the silent charges and the quiet fees. A little more stays with you every month, for life, and it costs you almost nothing to claim. One rung up, you shift your idle cash into an account that actually earns, so the interest lands in your pocket instead of the bank's. Higher again, you set the payday transfer on automatic, so investing happens before you can spend, and your money quietly starts to compound. Keep climbing. You capture the full employer match, the free money sitting inside your own job. Above that, you clear your highest interest debt, which hands you a sure return no investment can match, and keeps rewarding you long after it is gone. Then you trade high-fee funds for low-cost index funds, one calm decision that saves a fortune across 30 years. Near the top, you claim the legal tax breaks, a discount you collect again every single year you live. Then you build your credit on purpose, lowering the price of every loan you will ever take. And just below the summit, you keep choosing the asset that pays you over the liability that bills you, so your money flows home instead of away. Then comes the highest rung. You invest in the skill that raises what you earn, and you lift the ceiling over everything beneath it. Look at the shape of the whole thing. The lowest rung plugs a small leak in the pipe. Each rung above it plugs a wider one, or reclaims more of what was always yours. But the top rung does something different. It does not patch the pipe. It rebuilds it, opening the flow at the source, so every move below now carries more water than before. That is why the final move pays you for the longest. Plugging a leak protects what you already have. Raising your income grows what you have to work with every year for the rest of your life, and it pours more into every other move on this ladder at once. So climb in order. Bank the quick wins first, because they prove the point and keep you moving. Claim the free money. Take the yearly discounts. Buy what gives instead of what takes, and then save your deepest effort for the single rung that lifts them all. Section 6. Now take all 10 moves and crush them down to a single truth. Strip away the accounts, the funds, the fees, the match, the skill. Strip away the order and the ladder. Underneath every one of those moves, the same quiet machine is running, and it works the same way in each of them. Every default is built to pay someone else. Read it again, because this is the whole thing in one line. The account you opened and never changed. The fund you were handed without a second thought. The fee no one asked you to approve. The car that looks like success. The match you never claimed. None of these happen by accident. They are the easy path. The path you do not have to think about. And the easy path is always built to send your money quietly towards someone who is not you. So what is wealth then? It is not luck. It is not a huge salary that lands one day and fixes everything. It is not a secret only a few people are allowed to know. Wealth is just the habit of changing the defaults that pay you. That is it. That is all 10 moves wearing one sentence. You go through your money life and you find the settings someone else chose for you. The ones quietly draining away while you sleep. And one by one, you flip them. You cancel the charge. You move the cash. You claim the match. You clear the debt. You take the tax break. You buy what gives. You raise what you earn. Each one is the same act, repeated. You are taking a default that paid someone else, and you are turning it into a default that pays you. And here is the gentle truth inside this. You do not have to do all 10 today. You do not have to be strong, or special, or already rich to begin. You only have to change one default this week, then another next month. Each one you flip keeps paying you long after you forget you touched it, quietly, automatically, by design, the same way it once drained you. So carry this one line out of here with you. Every default is built to pay someone else, and wealth is just the habit of changing the defaults that pay you. Find one default this week, and flip it. Section 7. Here is one number, and once you see it, you will not be able to unsee it. When researchers looked closely at the savings records of millions of workers, all of them offered free matching money by their employers, they found something quiet and a little heartbreaking. 1 in every 4 workers does not take the full match. They simply do not save enough to grab all the free money their employer is holding out to them. Employee benefit news. Sit with that for a moment. 1 in 4, not 1 in 100. Not some small, unlucky few who slipped through the cracks. A full quarter of people who were offered money for nothing walked past it. And here is the part that should stop you cold. The typical worker who missed out left more than $1,000 of free money on the table, every single year. Over 20 years, that quiet, ignored gap grows into more than $40,000. Employee benefit news Liberty investor. Now think about who these people are. They are not careless. They are not lazy. They went to work. They saved something. They did almost everything right. They just never flipped one default. And that single unflipped setting quietly cost them a small fortune over a lifetime. That is the whole point of this number. The leak is not rare. It is not hiding in some strange corner of the money world that only a few people ever stumble into. It is right there in the most ordinary place, inside a benefit built to help you, and a quarter of people still miss it. If something this obvious and this generous gets walked past by 1 in 4, imagine how many of the quieter leaks, the fees, the idle cash, the high-cost funds, are draining people who never feel a thing. And notice why it stays invisible. No alarm sounds when you miss the match. No letter arrives to tell you what you lost. The money simply never shows up, and you cannot grieve a number you never saw. That is exactly how every default in this list works. It does its quiet damage in the dark, year after year, while you feel like you are doing fine. So let this one number do its job. If 1 in 4 can walk past free money this plainly offered, then the only real question left is simple. Which of your own defaults is quietly draining you right now, while you feel like everything is fine? Section 8. So here is where you are now. You are not most people anymore. Most people cannot see the defaults. They feel the small drop in the stomach at the end of the year, and they explain it away, and they go back to work hoping next year is kinder. But you can see it now. You know the money was working all along. You know it just was not working for you. And the moment you can see a leak, it loses its greatest power, which was staying hidden. So picture that scene one more time. It is the end of the year. You open the same banking app, in the same quiet moment, looking at the same balance you have looked at 100 times before. But this time, the number has moved. Not because you earned some huge windfall, not because you got lucky. The number moved because all year long, while you were living your life, 10 small streams were quietly paying you instead of someone else. The cancelled fees, the cash that finally earned, the automatic transfer that never asked your permission, the match you claimed, the debt you cleared. Each one a tiny thing on its own, all of them flowing in the same direction at last, toward you. That small drop in the stomach is gone, and in its place is something steady and quiet. Proof. You do not have to wait a whole year to begin feeling this. You only have to start. So before this week ends, do these 3. They are the easiest on the whole list, and they take almost nothing from you. First, open your statements and cancel one silent charge you forgot you were paying. Just one, today, if you can. Second, move your idle cash out of the account that pays you nothing and into one that actually earns. You can set that in motion before you sleep. Third, set one automatic transfer to investing on your next payday, even if the amount feels small. Small is fine. Small is how every large thing begins. 3 moves, 1 week. That is all this asks of you to start. Because wealth was never a secret, only a few people were allowed to know. It is just the quiet habit of changing the defaults that pay you. You can see them now. So go and flip the first one,